Can you put on your socks without holding onto anything for balance? It may sound like a strange question, but this tiny action says more about your health than you might think. For many people over the age of 40, this everyday task becomes surprisingly difficult. They wobble, lean against a wall, or even need to sit down. At first, it might feel like nothing serious, just a clumsy moment or a sign of stiffness. But in reality, that small struggle is your body sending you a message. It's a warning light that your balance, your strength, and your mobility are not what they used to be. You see, loss of strength and stability does not happen overnight. It creeps up quietly over the years. Muscles slowly weaken, joints get stiffer, and our ability to control movement begins to fade. Most people don't notice until one day, something as simple as bending down to tie a shoe, getting up from a chair, or walking up the stairs feels harder than it used to. This gradual decline is what scientists call silent loss of function. It doesn't shout or announce itself, but it chips away at independence little by little. The most worrying part is that this decline doesn't just affect sports performance or gym workouts. It affects the basics of daily life. Losing mobility makes it harder to do household chores, enjoy social activities, or even stay safe from falls. And falls are not a small matter. They are one of the leading causes of disability in older adults. But here's the hopeful side. It doesn't have to be this way. Research shows that the human body can rebuild strength, regain mobility, and protect balance at any age. The key is to train the right movement patterns. You don't need machines, complicated programs, or hours in the gym. What you need are simple, functional exercises that mirror the movements you already use every day: sitting, standing, lifting, bending, pushing, and stretching. When practiced consistently, these exercises act like medicine. They slow down aging, reverse stiffness, and even improve brain health and mood. That's why in this program, I will guide you through 5 essential exercises. Each one is simple, safe, and backed by science. Together, they strengthen your muscles, protect your joints, and restore natural movement. These 5 moves are not just workouts, they are an investment in your future. By practicing them, you're building a foundation for the next 10 years of independence and quality of life. So let's dive into the first one. The first exercise is the Romanian deadlift. Don't be intimidated by the name. It is simply a movement that teaches your body how to bend forward at the hips while keeping your back safe. This exercise targets the posterior chain, a group of muscles that includes your glutes, hamstrings, and spinal stabilizers. These muscles are often called the engine of the body because they control powerful movements like walking, running, climbing stairs, and lifting objects from the floor. When they are weak, the whole system suffers. Think about how many times in a day you bend forward, picking up a bag, lifting a child, reaching for something you dropped. Every time you do, your spine and hips are under load. If your glutes and hamstrings aren't strong enough, your lower back pays the price. That's why so many people experience back pain during daily activities. The Romanian deadlift retrains this exact pattern. It teaches you to hinge at the hips, use your glutes and hamstrings as the prime movers, and keep your spine stable and protected. Now let's go through it step by step. Stand with your feet about shoulder width apart. Hold a pair of dumbbells, a kettlebell, or even a broomstick in front of your thighs. Keep your knees soft, not locked straight but with a slight bend. Begin by pushing your hips back, almost as if you're trying to close a car door with your backside. As your hips move back, your chest tilts forward, but your back stays flat and your shoulders remain pulled back. Let the weight slide down along your legs until you feel a stretch in your hamstrings. Pause there for a second. Then press your heels into the ground, squeeze your glutes, and return to standing tall. If you're a beginner, you don't need to start with heavy weights. Practice with no weight at all, just your hands sliding down your thighs and back up. Once you feel comfortable, add light resistance and gradually increase over time. There are a few common mistakes to avoid. Don't round your back. Keep it neutral. Don't let your knees lock out because that puts stress on the joints. And don't try to go lower than your hamstrings allow. The goal is a controlled stretch, not touching the floor. Now, let's talk about the benefits. The Romanian deadlift builds powerful glutes and hamstrings, which improve posture and protect the lower back. It strengthens the muscles that stabilize your spine, reducing the risk of back pain. It trains the hip hinge, one of the most fundamental patterns in human movement, making lifting and bending safer. And by improving hip mobility and hamstring flexibility, it reduces stiffness and lowers the chance of falls or muscle strains. Beyond all that, it gives you stronger legs, a more upright posture, and a foundation of strength that carries over into every part of daily life. This exercise isn't just about building muscle, it's about keeping your body capable, resilient, and ready for whatever life throws at you. Done regularly, it's like a safety net for your future mobility. The second exercise is the resting squat. This may sound simple, but it's actually one of the most natural human positions. If you watch young children play, you'll notice that they can sit comfortably in a deep squat for long periods, with their heels flat and their backs upright. For them, it's effortless, but as adults, most of us lose this ability. Hours of sitting in chairs, working at desks, and living a sedentary lifestyle cause our hips, knees, and ankles to stiffen. Over time, the resting squat feels uncomfortable, or even impossible. Why does this matter? Because the ability to move into a deep squat is directly linked to joint health, balance, and mobility. When we lose this position, our gait becomes less efficient, our posture suffers, and our risk of falls increases. Studies have shown that limited hip and ankle mobility is one of the clearest predictors of functional decline in older age. In other words, being unable to squat deeply without strain is not just about flexibility, it's about independence. Here's how to practice the resting squat. Start by standing with your feet slightly wider than shoulder width. Slowly bend your knees and push your hips back as you lower your body into a squat. Your goal is to keep your heels flat on the ground and your chest upright. If you feel like you're tipping forward, you can hold onto a sturdy chair or door frame for balance. If your ankles are stiff, try placing a rolled-up towel or small wedge under your heels until you build more mobility. Stay in the squat as low as you can without pain and hold the position for 20 to 30 seconds at a time. As you improve, gradually extend the duration. If you haven't done this in years, it may feel uncomfortable at first, but that's normal. Think of it as teaching your body to remember something it once knew. With practice, the position becomes easier and more natural. Let's talk about the benefits. The resting squat restores movement to your hips, knees, and ankles. It strengthens the muscles around those joints, which improves balance and stability. It helps decompress the spine, relieving tension built up from sitting all day. It also trains your body to use a fuller range of motion, which carries over into walking, climbing stairs, and even just standing up more efficiently. On top of all that, this position encourages deeper, more natural breathing because keeping the chest open allows the diaphragm to move freely. By practicing the resting squat, you are not just improving flexibility, you are reconnecting with a fundamental human posture that your body was designed to maintain. Each time you sit in this position, you are reclaiming mobility that will serve you for years to come. Now let's move on to the third exercise, the piriformis stretch. The piriformis is a small but important muscle that sits deep in your hip. It helps rotate the leg outward and stabilizes the pelvis while you walk. But here's why it matters even more. The sciatic nerve, the longest nerve in the body, runs directly under this muscle. When the piriformis becomes tight or shortened, something that happens often after long hours of sitting, it can press on the sciatic nerve. This can lead to discomfort, burning, tingling, or even sharp pain that travels down the leg, a condition often called piriformis syndrome. Many people assume that pain in the back of the leg is always caused by a spinal disc problem. In reality, a tight piriformis muscle is often the true culprit. That's why this stretch is so valuable. It reduces tension in the hip, relieves pressure on the nerve, and restores freedom of movement. Here's how to perform it. Sit tall on a chair with both feet flat on the floor. Lift one foot and place the ankle across the opposite knee, forming a figure 4 shape with your legs. Keep your back straight and gently lean forward from the hips until you feel a stretch in the outer hip and glute. Hold this position for 30 to 60 seconds, breathing slowly, then switch sides. If sitting in a chair feels too easy, you can also try the stretch lying on your back. Cross one ankle over the opposite knee, then gently pull the uncrossed leg toward your chest until you feel the stretch in the hip. As with all stretches, the key is gentle, controlled movement. You should feel a deep stretch in the hip, but not sharp pain. Never force your body into the position. Now the benefits. This stretch relieves tension in the hips and lower back, which can immediately reduce discomfort from long periods of sitting. It protects against sciatic nerve irritation, which is one of the most common sources of leg pain in adults. It also improves hip mobility, which allows you to squat, walk, and climb stairs with greater ease. In the long term, keeping the piriformis flexible helps activate the glute muscles more effectively during strength exercises, reducing the risk of muscle imbalances and joint problems. Think of this stretch as maintenance for your body. Just as you keep a door hinge oiled so it doesn't squeak or jam, you keep your hip muscles flexible so your movements remain smooth and pain-free. For people who spend much of the day sitting, this single stretch can make the difference between stiff, uncomfortable hips and a body that moves with ease. The fourth exercise is the squat. At first glance, it might look like just another gym move, but the squat is much more than that. It is one of the most essential human movements. From the time we learn to walk, squatting is part of everything we do. Sitting down, standing up, picking up objects, climbing stairs. It's a movement that stays with us through life, and the stronger we keep it, the easier daily living becomes. Unfortunately, many people lose their natural squat ability as they age. Long hours of sitting weaken the muscles in the hips and legs, while stiffness builds in the knees and ankles. As a result, even getting up from a chair can start to feel like hard work. That's why practicing squats regularly is like putting money in the bank for your future independence. Here's how to do it. Stand tall with your feet about shoulder width apart, keep your chest up and your back straight. Spread your weight evenly across your feet. Imagine a tripod with pressure in your heels and the balls of both feet. Now bend your knees and push your hips back, lowering your body as if you're sitting into an invisible chair. Keep your heels firmly on the ground and your knees aligned with your toes. Go as low as feels comfortable for your body. For some, that might mean thighs parallel to the floor, while for others, it might be higher. Then, push through your heels and straighten your legs to return to standing tall. If you're just starting out, or if mobility is limited, try sitting back onto a real chair and standing up again. This box squat version makes the movement more accessible while still training the same muscles. As you gain strength, you can progress to deeper squats or add resistance by holding a weight at your chest. Now the benefits. Squats work almost every major muscle group in the lower body: glutes, quadriceps, hamstrings, and calves. They also engage your core and spinal muscles to keep you upright. This full body activation builds strength, tones muscles, and even stimulates bone density, which is crucial for preventing osteoporosis as we get older. Beyond the physical strength, squats also train balance and coordination. Every time you practice this movement, you are reinforcing the ability to rise from a chair or toilet safely, climb stairs confidently, and move through daily life without fear of falling. From a health perspective, squats also boost hormones like testosterone and growth hormone, which support muscle and bone maintenance. And because they are a compound movement that uses many muscles at once, they burn more calories and improve metabolism. But perhaps the greatest benefit of squats is that they directly translate into real-world independence. Being able to stand up without help is one of the most powerful predictors of quality of life in later years. Each repetition of a squat is essentially a rehearsal for this essential skill. By practicing squats, you are not just building muscle, you are practicing independence itself. Now let's move on to the fifth exercise, the push-up. Push-ups are often underestimated because they look simple, but they are actually one of the most effective all-around strength builders you can do. This single movement trains your chest, shoulders, arms, core, and even your glutes, making it a true full-body exercise. Here's how to perform a standard push-up. Start on the floor with your hands slightly wider than shoulder width, placed directly under your shoulders. Extend your legs behind you so that your body forms a straight line from head to heels. Brace your core and keep your glutes tight. Bend your elbows and lower your chest toward the ground in a controlled manner. Aim to go down until your chest is just above the floor, then push back up to the starting position. If a full push-up feels too difficult, don't worry. There are many beginner variations. You can start by doing push-ups against a wall, then progress to a countertop, then to the floor with knees down, and eventually to the full version. Each step builds strength and confidence until you can perform them unassisted. Now let's talk about the benefits. Push-ups are a closed-chain exercise, meaning your hands stay in contact with the floor, which places less stress on the joints compared to some weightlifting movements. They not only strengthen the chest, triceps, and shoulders, but also activate the deep stabilizing muscles of the core. This improves posture, reduces the risk of shoulder injuries, and helps you move more efficiently. Push-ups also have cardiovascular benefits. When performed in higher repetitions or as part of a circuit, they elevate the heart rate and improve endurance. In fact, long-term studies have shown that men who could perform more than 40 push-ups had dramatically lower risk of cardiovascular disease compared to those who could not reach 10. This makes push-ups not just a strength exercise, but a marker of heart health and resilience. From a functional standpoint, push-ups train you to control your own body weight, which is one of the most important measures of real strength. They improve the ability to push yourself up from the floor, to stabilize your body during daily tasks, and to maintain strong, healthy shoulders even in older age. Push-ups also sharpen the mind-muscle connection. Each repetition requires focus, coordination, and rhythm, which improves motor control and body awareness. Over time, this enhances balance and reaction speed, both of which are vital for preventing injuries in daily life. Whether you perform them on the floor, on your knees, or at a wall, push-ups adapt to your level and continue to challenge you as you grow stronger. This makes them one of the most versatile and effective exercises for long-term health. You've now discovered the 5 key exercises: the Romanian deadlift, the resting squat, the piriformis stretch, the squat, and the push-up. Each one on its own is powerful, but together they form a complete toolkit for protecting your strength, mobility, and independence. They don't require expensive equipment or complicated routines. They are simple, natural movements that teach your body to do what it was always meant to do. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Why are these movements so important for long-term health and longevity? The answer lies in how the body ages. As we get older, our muscles naturally lose mass and power, a process called sarcopenia. This decline is one of the main reasons people struggle with daily tasks in later life. But studies show that consistent strength and mobility training can slow down this process dramatically, and in some cases even reverse it. In fact, strength and mobility are now recognized as some of the strongest predictors of healthy aging. Think about it. Being able to sit down and stand up without support, balance on one leg, or get up from the floor without help. These simple actions are stronger indicators of future independence than weight, blood pressure, or cholesterol numbers. Why? Because they measure real-world capability. They tell us whether you can move safely through life, avoid falls, and remain active in your community. The exercises you've just learned directly train these abilities. The Romanian deadlift strengthens the back of your body, protecting your spine and improving your balance. The resting squat restores mobility in your hips and ankles, helping you move freely. The piriformis stretch keeps your hips loose and reduces the risk of sciatic pain. The squat builds leg and core strength, training you to rise from a chair or climb stairs with confidence. And the push-up builds upper body power, posture, and endurance, supporting everything from carrying groceries to pushing yourself up off the ground. But the benefits don't stop with muscles and joints. Exercise has profound effects on the brain and the nervous system. Each time you move through these patterns, your brain is reinforcing connections between muscles and nerves. This is called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and grow. Training these exercises regularly improves coordination, reaction time, and balance, all of which help prevent falls. It also boosts memory, focus, and overall brain health. On top of that, movement affects your hormones. Strength exercises like squats and deadlifts trigger the release of growth hormone and testosterone, which help preserve muscle and bone. Gentle stretches and postures like the resting squat promote relaxation and reduce stress hormones. And every exercise session, no matter how small, encourages the release of endorphins and serotonin, the chemicals that elevate mood and fight off anxiety and depression. There is also the impact on your heart and metabolism. Exercises like push-ups and squats raise your heart rate, improving cardiovascular health and lowering blood pressure. They also increase insulin sensitivity, which helps regulate blood sugar and lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes. Combined, these benefits mean you're not just training for strength, you're training for longevity. And here's the most inspiring part. You don't need hours every day to achieve these results. Even just 10 to 15 minutes of these movements, practiced consistently, can change the trajectory of your health over the next decade. Think of each rep as a seed. Every time you practice, you plant a seed of future independence, resilience, and energy. Over time, those seeds grow into the freedom to live life on your own terms, to travel, to play with your grandchildren, to enjoy your hobbies, and to face each day with confidence. The choice is in your hands. You can let aging slowly take away your abilities without noticing, or you can take action today to strengthen your body and protect your independence. Remember, it's never too late to start. Whether you're 40, 50, 60, or beyond, your body is capable of change. So here's what you can do next. Pick 2 or 3 of these exercises and practice them today. Start small, focus on good form, and progress at your own pace. Add in the others over the week. With consistency, you'll be amazed at how quickly your strength and mobility improve. These 5 exercises are more than just a workout. They are your insurance policy against the limitations of aging. They are your ticket to moving with freedom, living without fear of falls, and staying strong and independent for years to come. Thank you for taking this time to invest in yourself. If you found this helpful, give the video a like, subscribe for more practical tips, and share it with someone who could benefit. Together, we can spread the message that strength, mobility, and independence are within reach for everyone, no matter their age. Your future self will thank you for starting today.